So in this video we're going to be building a hollow core wooden surfboard, in particular the 511 Fish from DIYsurfboardkits.com. The first step in any hollow core wooden surfboard build is to find a good quality frame. Sure, you could make it yourself, but why would you make it yourself when you could buy one from me at DIYsurfboardkits.com? They go together super easy and they're ultra lightweight. The ribs get stuck onto the spines and the rails get stuck onto the ribs. It's as easy as that. What you'll end up with is an ultra lightweight frame which basically forms the inner workings of your surfboard. The next step is to glue up the skins. If you're using one of these kits, it comes with a perfectly machined 6mm thick panels which all you have to do is glue it together. Oh, and did I mention it's polonium, one of the lightest and strongest woods used for marine applications. While you're waiting for that to dry, you can prep your paper templates. These paper templates show you your perfect outline as well as all the hard things to figure out, like fin plug positions and, well, yeah, fin plugs. Pretty cool, hey? Now, one thing I hope you notice here is I'm not using any expensive specialized tools to build this board. I'm using a handful of hand tools and a buttload of small clamps. Basically the same tools that any DIYer is likely to have. The next step is to glue on the surfboard frame onto your surfboard skins. It's just a matter of getting a bit of glue, jigging up a rocker table on any old flat surface and weighing it down. A couple of clamps here won't hurt, but if you check it out, all I'm using is plywood and a couple of clamps to keep things even. If you have a selection of spring clamps on hand, it can come in useful for getting the rail to stick down. But, you know, you can get about 20 of these for $15 at Bunnings on any given day. A little bit of super glue to hold things in place while the glue sets, and you're set. Get it? It's a little glue joke for you. You let that dry and you can go on to the top deck. Now, we missed out a few steps, but if you need information building a board, head over to the website because there's a full selection of how-to videos over there. Now, this is a table that I've been developing to cut down on the amount of specialized equipment once again. Notice it's just a couple of ratchet straps, plywood coals, and instead of a solid surface on the workbench, it's got all of these cross members with holes. See what these are used for? That's right, getting clamps around the entire perimeter of the board. Now, I'm making it sound like this is super easy to build, and it's easy to put together, but it still requires some skill. You gotta make sure things are square, actually gonna made up together. It's not just Lego. But if you wear a yellow shirt, you can feel like a Lego man. Get it? So with the blank ready, it's time to move on to the rails, and this time I am using a bandsaw, but I think anyone can see how you could easily do this with a jigsaw as well. Now you got your rails ripped, it's time to glue them up, and for this we use bent lamination. This gives the board an insane amount of strength when it comes to impact resistance, but also gives the shaper a little bit more options when it comes to shaping. And after all, that's what this is all about, learning more about the sport and combining passions. Here's my special table in use once again. See all those holes that we put through it? Well, we use those to hold the rails in rough position while we apply tension using a strap. Couple of clamps here and there, and the rails attached. With the rails on and dried, then it's time to trim them off. Now, admittedly not everyone's going to have a multi-tool, but considering you can get them for about 25 bucks, I'm letting that slip. From there, it's on to the shaping. Now, this is where this project starts to really get a lot of fun, because you're not only working with wood, but you're shaping something that you're going to be taking out on the water and riding yourself. I mean, not that many people can say that they've made the board they're on, and the one that you're on is made out of wood, and it's hollow. Now, shaping a surfboard is a pretty fine art. I mean, just small differences in the rail shape can have huge impact on the performance of the board, and I think that's where the value of building your own board really comes into play. Now, for your first board, you not want to go too insane, and that's why we include a rail template like you can see me periodically checking the shape here with. But as you continue to build more and more boards, or even just one board, you're going to start picking up what the little subtle changes in rail shape and geometry are going to have on the board that you're surfing, which can only result in a better understanding of the sport. I'm not saying it's going to make you a better surfer, but it's definitely going to give you more of an understanding of what is happening underneath your feet, and that is a huge takeaway from building a board. Once you're happy with your shape, you can smooth everything out using sandpaper and normal methods, and then it's time to move on to the hardware. Now, all of the kits include hardware, and with optional jigs like this acrylic template that I'm using here, the install of it is easier than ever. The added bonus of using hardware like this is that it has all the included angles built in, so if you wanted a 5-degree offset on your fins, for example, well, our fin boxes already have that. You don't need to worry about angling a drill and installing your plugs. All you have to do is route a recess and glue them in. The final step of building a wooden surfboard is fiberglassing. Just because it's wood doesn't mean that it doesn't need to get fiberglass, but it does give you a few options. While here I am using fiberglass and standard resins, you could have the option to use something more eco-friendly like a bamboo cloth instead of this fiberglass cloth. You could also use plant-based resins if you really wanted to go full-on eco. Just be warned that a lot of those plant-based resins don't handle the UV too well. Now, fiberglassing is a pretty deep thing to dive into, so we're not going to jump into it in this video, but the process is essentially the same as you would do on any foam board. Lay down the cloth, do your lamination, do your fill coats, sand it back, polish, and get on with the job of, well, surfing. Doesn't sound like a hard job really, does it? It's a pretty good life. And that's just about it. Now, building your own board is super rewarding, and you really do get a thrill from it. And while this channel is definitely not meant to be a sales channel, and I'm not trying to sell you anything, to show my appreciation and to celebrate the launch of my new business, I am offering all of you guys 10% off, valid until January 2019, on all of your orders over on DIYsurfboardkits.com.au. Just use coupon code YouTube on checkout.